Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Okay, so David Haye, he defeats his very good friend in Joe Fournier on the Triller fight card. It was 8 rounds. David Haye won all rounds just by using the jab. He did drop Fournier in round number 1 with a jab. Let's be honest, that's what it was. It was a jab, kind of flash knockdown in some ways. But he didn't even throw the right hand really, maybe once or twice in the whole fight. Now, I will give some kind of props to Joe Fournier because at times he did actually go for it. And no, I didn't watch the fight live. I've watched the replay here on YouTube. But it was 2-minute rounds, so they were fighting women rounds. Okay? So that is what it is. What can you do? That just seems to be Triller, right? But David Haye immediately says that he wants to come back and fight Tyson Fury. He says that the 3 years out the ring has rejuvenated his body. He feels fresh, he feels good, and blah, blah, blah. You know, the usual David Haye spiel. And if he's going to come back, out of all the top guys out there, he looks at Tyson Fury as the one that he can beat. In other words, he looks at the likes of, say, Anthony Joshua or Dillian Whyte and maybe a couple of others that he can't beat. But Tyson Fury, his style is easy work for David Haye, according to David Haye. He's got the kryptonite to defeat Tyson Fury. Now, these guys were supposed to have fought back in 2013. And at that time, I said it then and I maintain it right now, the Tyson Fury of 2013 and the David Haye of 2013, Tyson Fury would have lost that fight, in my opinion. I think that David Haye would have stopped him late on. But again, I know some people may say, but David Haye, he lost to Vladimir Klitschko. Tyson Fury defeated Vladimir Klitschko. Yeah, Tyson Fury defeated him 2 years later, but that's not how boxing works, okay? It really isn't, okay? Unfortunately, that's not quite the way. Is it unfortunate? No, maybe not, actually. But anyway, that's my opinion on it. But a Tyson Fury of today, put him in the time machine, go back to 2013, he defeats David Haye. So for me, a prime David Haye could not defeat a prime Tyson Fury. It'd be an interesting fight for sure, but this is David Haye 2021. This is not David Haye 2013. This is against a Tyson Fury 2021. Now, for me, I don't think Tyson Fury is back to his best. I don't, as in his best when he fought Vladimir Klitschko. I still don't think that he's quite there yet. Yes, he defeated Deontay Wilder. Some will say twice, I'll say twice. But that's still not the best Tyson Fury. That's still not Tyson Fury back to his best, in my opinion. But doesn't need to be. Tyson Fury beats David Haye quite comfortably. And for David Haye to say, well, I've been out the ring for 3 years, now my body is rejuvenated, I'm fresh, I'm blah, blah, blah. Well, David, you was out for 3 years once before, mate. When you're supposed to have fought Tyson Fury, you got like a little cut above your eye, which was, I believe, a very, very young Filip Hrgović done that. Because he had Deontay Wilder in camp, he had Mariusz Wach in camp, and that big Richard Towers, he was in camp along with Filip Hrgović. And I think it was actually Filip Hrgović who caused a cut above the eye in sparring. Was it a week or maybe 2 weeks before the fight was due? So they rescheduled the fight. David Haye then pulled out because he damaged his shoulder. He was out for 3 years. Okay, did he duck Tyson Fury? Potentially, right? But when David Haye came back after 3 years, so much like this one, after 3 years, he looked terrible. He looked plodding. He looked awful. He fought Mark Demori. Mark Demori, who is currently ranked number 8 in the WBA. And he's only been fighting journeyman multiple times since that fight. And in fact, his last fight, he defeated a guy and knocked out a guy who he's already fought twice before and knocked out. But Mark Demori is currently ranked number 8 in the WBA. See, this is my issue with the WBA, right? But then, of course, after he knocks out Mark Demori, he then fights Arnold Jajai, the Cobra, Tyson Fury's former sparring partner. So he fights him, knocks him out. Again, he goes down with a jab as well, much like a Joe Fournier did. But the difference is Arnold Jajai didn't get back up again, off memory. But anyway, he was then meant to fight a Shannon Briggs. He ducked Shannon Briggs, let's be honest. And for some reason, he gets mandated to fight Joseph Parker, the new WBO heavyweight world champion, after he defeated Andy Ruiz Jr. David Haye doesn't take that fight for the world title. Instead, he goes and fights Tony Bellew. Why? Because there was more money on the table. He snapped his Achilles, all that kind of good stuff. David Haye done fantastic, by the way, just to get as far as what he did, let's be honest. But then, of course, you got the rematch, and he just gets decimated. So 3 years out the ring isn't really going to help David Haye, and especially when you're getting older. It's one thing for him to be in his 40s now, but it's another thing to be out the ring for 3 years in your 40s. It would be a one-sided mismatch. So would he have a better chance against a Tyson Fury than what he would against an Anthony Joshua or a Dillian White? I mean, that's entirely on you lot. But I think that he's doing it because he feels that he could at least go the distance with Tyson, as in Tyson wouldn't knock him out, which is very possible. It is possible that Tyson Fury wouldn't knock him out. He's not the biggest puncher in the world. I know people will say, but he bounced around Deontay Wilder. Well, Wilder's never been great around the whiskers. Okay, he never has been. But at the same time, David Haye, he looked pretty fragile in his last fight against Tony Bellew. In this fight, did he get hurt? No. But again, he was doing 2-minute rounds against his very good friend. Is it realistic? Well, the WBC would have to rank David Haye into the top 15. Don't be surprised if that happens. Do not be surprised. Would Tyson Fury take the fight? Probably. Let's be honest. I won't put nothing past Tyson Fury. Again, I mean, I know looking back then, Tyson Fury, he was looking for his payday. That was his payday, was David Haye. Okay, and David Haye pulled the rug out from him. Maybe he didn't want to give David Haye a payday. But either way, I mean, for him to come back for Tyson Fury, it would have to be in some kind of exhibition fight anyway, because as I said, it's unlikely the WBC would rank him. As I said before, don't put nothing past them, but being realistic, it's madness. It's absolute madness. There's no way on God's green earth that David Haye has any chance against Tyson Fury. He can say that he's got the kryptonite, he's watched Tyson Fury, he knows what he's good at, and he knows what he's not good at. Well, this is a David Haye who has predicted Tyson Fury to lose pretty much, well, his last couple of fights. Well, both fights against Deontay Wilder. He was picking Deontay Wilder to defeat Tyson Fury. So how much does he really know about Tyson Fury? And even if he did know how to beat Tyson Fury, physically he can't do it. He's got a big punch. I mean, if he lands a big punch on Fury, of course. David Haye is always going to carry that power up until he's about 50, right? But outside of that, it's pretty much going to be happening what happened with Evander Holyfield last night, who got beat up and stopped in round number 1. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens, won't we? Would you watch it? I think a lot of people probably would. It's just another payday for David Haye. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.